welcome everyone. I'm John Wuorinen. I'm the Director of Admissions and Tuition Assistance here at Columbus Academy. And thank you for joining us for another Zoom at Noon. Today, a special treat for all of you. We have 6 seniors here, and we're talking a little bit about senior leadership. We're also talking about all the different activities that the students are in, and it's a little slice of life here at Columbus Academy. We hope to give you a better understanding of who Columbus Academy is. So what I'd like to do is, Alex, I'm going to start with you if that's okay, and then we're just going to go down the line. These are student leaders, and what I want them to do is mention who they are, name, when they started here at Academy. Want you to say what activities you're involved with, and some of those are going to be here on campus, and some of those may be outside of school. And then finally, what part of Columbus, what part of Central Ohio you're hailing from. So Alex, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah, my name is Alex Lesh. I came in 11th grade. I am the head of the K-Buddy program here. I am the founder and leader of the volleyball club, and then I run an organization called Homes for Toys. I live in New Albany, Ohio.
Great.
I'm Maren Lawrence. I came to Columbus Academy in pre-kindergarten. I am president of the environmental club here at Academy, as well as a shaper on the service board. I also play field hockey here at Columbus Academy, and I also run an organization called Family First Aid Kits, and I'm from Sunbury, Ohio.
Hi, I'm Leah Hempel. I came to Academy in pre-K as well. I'm the vice president of service board at Academy. I was the captain of the field hockey team this season. I'm also a member of the lacrosse team, and I live in Blackwood.
I'm John Wuorinen, Mr. W to these guys, but I actually started at Columbus Academy back in 1971 as a 4th grader. Was involved in many things back in the day, but they don't matter today.
I'm Nina Onway. I came to Academy in 5th grade. I'm co-president of Investment Club, co-president of the Block Organization of Students. I'm a student alumni board representative, and outside of school, I'm a part of the top group of the Columbus Children's Choir called Noodles. And I'm from Powell, Ohio.
My name is Colin Harrison. We're from right down the road in Gahanna, Ohio. I am one of the co-presidents for our schools chapter of the Junior State of America. And on the regional level, I'm the director of chapter internal affairs for the entire Ohio River Valley region. I'm also involved heavily in the theater, and I bowl.
My name is Corey. I'm a member of the soccer team and the tennis team here at Columbus Academy. I'm also a student alumni representative for this year, and I'm co-president of Code Club and the East Asian Students Together Affinity Group, and I'm from Powell, Ohio.
And quite involved with piano.
Yeah, I still play a lot of piano outside of school.
Great. Well, so for a little softball question to start you guys out, your favorite Academy class and favorite teacher, just to get everybody going.
Softball, it's so hard.
Oh, is that hard? Okay, well, you can name a couple of them. All right. This is going to be easy.
I'll give you guys some time to think. I'll start it off. My favorite class, I'll give you 2 answers, is I love AP. I'm currently taking AP Comparative Government, and I've always been fascinated by that sort of subject, and I'm really happy I get exposure to it in high school. But probably the class I enjoy the most is Portfolio Technical Theater, and my favorite teacher would have to be Mr. Scott Dillon, affectionately Dill to all our students. And I'm currently in the process of directing a 1-act, which hopefully all goes according to plan. I will present to the school in late spring.
Awesome. Okay, so that was Colin. Who's up next? Favorite class? You ready
I
to
can go. I'm a big science person, so I would say honors bio, which is what I'm taking this year, and then I really liked physics. Mr. DeVore, but my favorite teacher probably have to be Dr. Stegg. So he's a good teacher here, but he was always super supportive and always willing to help out. So
Great. Okay. Alex?
I'd say my favorite two classes are computer science and economics, and kind of how those two can be bridged together. And I'd say my favorite teacher is Mr. Bolognese. He's always very supportive and willing to answer questions no matter what time.
Is he comp sci or?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll take it.
he's a math teacher as well, so.
Yeah.
But you've got it for comp sci. Okay.
I can go next.
Yeah.
My answer is actually the same as Alex's. My favorite classes are comp sci and econ. My favorite teacher is Mr. Feinberg because he has a great sense of humor and he's an amazing teacher.
Terrific. Terrific. Corey?
So I'm pretty big on math. My favorite teacher is Dr. Linder. I had him last year and this year for AP stats, and this year I'm taking calculus 3. And yeah, it's just every day we go into class and he's really engaging and kind of like, he loves to teach, and that kind of energy reflects on his students.
He's the stats tiger, right?
Yeah.
And so did everyone go?
Not me. I would say my favorite class I've taken is probably environmental science, which I took last year with Mrs. Downey. I just really interested in that subject. It's what I want to major in, so I found it really interesting. And also statistics this year, it's with Dr. Linder, like Corey said. And it's really interesting to see how you can kind of manipulate data and draw conclusions from it. I think my favorite teacher is probably Miss Karita, even though I've never had her as a teacher in class. She's just really, really nice. And it's always really nice in the hallway to see and talk to.
Yeah, she's famous for going to all of the sporting events.
Yeah.
I mean,
On the soccer team, we had a game in Dayton on a school night, and I saw her there.
and again, she'll come to the theater and stuff. And she's a force to be reckoned with. So, as I expected, you guys were mentioning classes that are pretty high powered. Calculus and calculus 3, even, but economics, comp sci. The question is, how do you balance? You guys are also involved in lots of different things. Many of you in sports after school or plays, all sorts of things. The question of balance always comes up when I am touring families. They say, how much homework is there? Can you get it all done? Is it this pressure cooker? How do you guys find balance? With all the different things that you're into. There'll be a pregnant pause while someone decides to speak up. Oh, Leah's gonna go for it.
I would say just really taking advantage of your free periods, and especially with sports after school, like sometimes it can be, you like get home a little bit later around like 6:30, depending on how far you live. But I think you definitely need time to like take a little break from school and like relax after school and then just hop into homework. And there are classes that have more work than others. So I think just like once you kind of hop into the routine, it just gets a lot easier.
Okay. Anyone else want to add?
I can. It's true. The school has high standards. It's a college preparatory academy, and we all know that. But Corey mentioned the teachers really love to teach and really have a passion for their students as well as their discipline. So one thing I found that helps me create balance is taking advantage of that and talking with them, because they're more than happy to offer you extra help, offer you an extension, reschedule a test if you're busy, because they want us to be student athletes. They want us to be artists and students, and it's not just something they say once or twice at orientation and then the policy doesn't match up with it. They do actually support us in all of that. So I think taking advantage of that is really important for creating balance.
I mean, the teachers at CA, they want to see you succeed. They don't want to, they're not out to get you. There's a test policy here where if you have over at least 3 tests. On one
Yeah,
day,
the first 2 can happen, and the third one.
you can reschedule, and kind of just that way, like, you're not gonna have too much on one day.
Well, another thing that the school actually does, we have the block schedule. And so classes meet, it's a little more like a collegiate schedule perhaps, where classes meet only 2 out of every 3 days. And so you won't have homework necessarily. This is actually a structural piece that Academy put into place. Many years ago, actually, so that students don't get too bogged down. So good. Anyone else want to add on that? That was good. Okay. Little breather here. Favorite tradition at Columbus Academy.
I can go first with that one.
Okay.
Honestly, like my favorite tradition is the junior speeches. For me, I get really anxious going on stage and talking in front of a big crowd, but it really pushed me out of my comfort zone and I learned a lot just from that one experience. And so from that, like, yeah, it's definitely my favorite.
Why don't you describe, I'm not sure that everyone out in TV land would know what the junior speech is. Can you describe that for us?
Yeah, so it's a requirement to graduate. So every junior has to give a speech to the entire upper school about any topic they want to. I think it has to be between 5 and 6 minutes. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a really cool experience.
Well, the whole upper school attends. And so if I can add on to it, I won't necessarily do this with each tradition, but so each senior, again, a graduate or each junior as a graduation requirement has to do this, and the whole school listens in. And one of the great things is it's great, for a student, the individual who's up there getting out of their comfort zone and sharing. Speaking as a longtime member of the community here, the coolest part for the community is that you learn so much about each person in our community. And so you could give one speech, but you're going to hear about 400, and you'll really get to know those other kids. Colin, you actually gave yours at the end of last year. You were the last. He was the last junior last year to give that speech. I'd love to.
I was the last speech of the year, and also the teacher advisor who ran junior speeches was retiring at the end of the year, so I was the last speech of that person's tenure as the guide for the speeches. And I'm very outgoing. I love to perform. I love to debate. I love to speak. But I wanted to, as Mr. Wuorinen said, show something people would not know about me, give a little substance, and kind of honor the tradition, because the tradition's been here since early 30s or something.
No, I think it was 1917.
1917. I didn't give it the proper credit, but it's one of the most preeminent traditions, and it's a great opportunity to improve your speaking ability, to connect with your community, and to engage in something that's truly much bigger than you. And it's also a great time.
Yeah, I agree with both Nina and Colin, but like my favorite part of it is that it's not optional, right? Like you have the undivided attention of like 500 people for 5 minutes, right? You can do so much with that. Whether you want to give a funny speech or whether you want to like do something really serious, I mean, you can like make an impact in those 5 minutes. I think it's really nice.
Yeah.
Well, is that everyone's favorite tradition?
No.
Okay, good. Because that's sorry, we went off on a tangent there, but
My senior and kindergarten buddies. Having been here since pre-K, I got to be the little kindergartner with the senior, and now this year being the senior with the little kindergartner, it's so fun. Like every senior is paired up with kindergartner, and you get to do little activities throughout the year.
Alex is actually in
Yeah.
charge of that. Do you want to say a little bit more about it?
Yeah.
Because don't we have an activity tomorrow?
We do, yeah, so decorating turkeys tomorrow, but so throughout the year, I'll coordinate these events with the kindergartners and the seniors, and we'll come together and do, whether that's writing letters to them or decorating different things or just hanging out around different times of the year. But it's really fun to see my friends having fun with, kindergartners and just bringing the community together. It's really nice to see that. So it's been a great experience so far.
My favorite tradition is the last bell that seniors do. So basically every day at 8:05 and 3:20, the bell rings, and you can hear it throughout the campus. And so on seniors' last day, we all go out onto the quad and we stand in a big circle and just listen to the final bell together. And I think it's just really special. You grow so close with your class, even if you're coming in from 11th grade or whether or not you're coming in from pre-K, you get really close as a grade, and it's just special to everyone's wearing their college shirts. You can see where they're going, and even though we're all about to go our separate ways, it's just one final moment and the place that we spent so much time together at.
It's great. I really like the on Veterans Day every year, they ring the bell, school for each veteran that the school has, and what you remember the school has,
Right.
that's either currently working, or is retired. And this year it was around 500,
Yeah.
close to 500 rings. So we just stand outside and around the quad, central quad, and just listen to the bell ring.
It was Friday and unfortunately it was a little drizzly. But we're all out there and then the choir comes in and sings America the Beautiful at the end. It's quite moving.
I think my favorite tradition is also the last bell, but seeing as Mayor touched on that, I think one thing that's also great about CA is there's a lot of little traditions that everyone engages in. And we have these big institutional ones like the junior speech or K buddies, but anyone who will take Mr. Davis's bio class will do the community ecology project. There's a tradition within the school, or the 8th grade Cold War trial, like different classes and grades. The naval battle in
Naval
6th
battle in
grade.
sixth
It's
grade.
not only confined. It's not only confined to the high school. Middle school has a plethora of traditions, and individual classes have traditions. My personal favorite, my tech theater class, every Thanksgiving we have Techsgiving where we all get lunch together. But it's
Nice.
things like that that are little special moments that are throughout your entire time here, and you don't get to have all the fun in high school.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
It's like the
important.
4th grade musical.
Yes.
Fourth grade music.
Like,
sure.
there's little things that you can always look forward to in different grades as you go through academy.
Right. What I didn't mention, I should have taken a break from questions. If any of you have questions to ask our panel, if you want to go ahead and put those in the chat. Anika Littell is our moderator, and she will be reading those questions to us. So please feel free to jump in. Here's a question that you might not have pondered before. Sometimes you get into activities kind of organically. If each of you would think about some of the activities, how did you get into that? How did you find the things that you've become involved with? How do they become your favorites? Were there some avenues that you took that it didn't pan out? That sort of thing. Do you?
Yes.
Okay, Colin's got an answer already, so
I spend a tremendous amount of time, like I said, running, guiding our chapter and region of the Junior State of America. And I joined that kind of by accident, not knowing what it was. We have a club fair at the beginning of every year, and freshman me thought it'd be a good idea to sign up for everything I could, and then just kind of like filter it down. It led to my email being way too jam-packed for about a month. But I initially joined it because I knew the two people running it from being in the community. I was friends with their younger brothers. My sister had worked with them, and there were people I respected. And I was like, oh, if it's these two people running this organization, it can't be that bad. And then I joined, and we took a trip to Washington, D.C. And there I got to see actually them display just a level of passion and welcomingness that me as a freshman was really looking for. And I got involved because it was fun, but now as the leader, one of the leaders of our school's chapter, I want to provide the same thing, because I knew they didn't even intend it to be, but it was such a welcoming experience, such a positive experience. Just them talking to me got me into it, and then just showing up is really the reason I found all the things I love to do now. You can't find something if you don't show up.
good. That might be advice for later. Anyone else want to chime in already?
So when I was younger, I spent a lot of time outside, and I really enjoyed nature and spending time outside. And then when I was
Your family has a kind of a big farm,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So yeah, I grew up on a farm, so I spent a lot of time out there as well. But in 8th grade, I helped Miss Gilio, who is a previous faculty member, start an arboretum on campus, which is essentially just like a tree museum. It has lots of different species of trees, and we tagged a bunch of trees so everyone could find out information about them and got it accredited and all of that.
Only the like second, or isn't it, it's very rare for
Yeah,
schools to have.
it's just one of 31 in all of Ohio that are accredited arboretums. But after that, I came to the high school wanting to get involved in environmental club. And I joined it freshman year, but it wasn't necessarily like a real club. There were like 5 members, didn't have a meeting all year. So going into my sophomore year, I became co-president with a then senior, and together we just kind of helped make the club into a real organization. So that just kind of, and I've been president with various members or various people ever since, but that just kind of grew organically, like Wuorinen said, from interest that I had, and just finding different ways to get involved. But I don't think I would have imagined being this heavily involved when I first entered the high school, but I'm definitely glad I am.
That's actually an important point. I used to be dean of students in the high school. I've been around a long time. Some of these clubs actually wax and wane depending on the student involvement and student leadership. You guys, it was before your time, but there used to be an astronomy club that was really quite popular because a couple students were, really gung-ho about it. And so again, sometimes these things come and go. It's interesting to hear how Colin was energized by the former leaders, and that here Maren went ahead and took a failing club or a not too energetic club, and you were up on stage today and during assembly making an announcement.
Yeah, I think that it's like important to understand about the community is that we have a lot of interests, but everyone is really enthusiastic about whatever they're interested in. So if you can find people who share your interests, you can definitely get participation. You can get people excited.
Anyone else want to talk about how they got involved?
I can talk about service boards. So I've always been involved in service since I was younger. My family's friends with the Gibsons, and Beth Gibson started Buddy Up
Buddy Up
for
tennis.
Life. So I've always been in that environment. And entering high school, I joined the service board, and I feel like a lot of people, it's a big,
It's the
like,
biggest,
it's
the
really
biggest
big.
organization.
It's like 120 students.
They have to have their meetings in the theater
Yeah.
because there's so many kids.
So I think like a lot of freshmen tend to join, and like people drop out throughout the year because they're not really sure if they enjoy it or not, but I stuck with it. I became a shaper, which is about 20 students. I became a shaper sophomore year, and then I'm the vice president this year with Emily Mata, who's president, but it's super fun. You communicate a lot with people outside of the community, just like in the Columbus area. But it's a lot of like hard work that gets put into it that you don't really see just being a member on the board, and like get it to be a shaper. You're running the events with the school, and going like one more level and becoming vice president. You're doing a ton of different communication that you don't really necessarily know that's going on, but
Sure, it's a little behind the scenes.
yeah.
Anyone else?
So I came to Academy my freshman year, and not only was I transitioning from like middle school to high school, but also I came from a public school. So it's from a big public school to this small tiny knit community that I felt like almost intruding on as a new freshman. So when I first came to school, I felt a little bit foreign, but then I joined the East Asian Affinity group together, and that community really kind of helped me find my place in the greater academy community too. So this year, when I became like a co-president of the East Asian Students Together, I felt that I can almost do the same thing that the East Asian Students Together affinity group did for me when I was a new freshman to this year's new freshman.
Neat.
So
Nice.
there's a lot of new young freshmen that come into the school, Asian, that kind of float around, trying to find a spot in the UVA. I think it's, I can take a greater role. It's awesome. Yeah, so
Super, kind of like Corey, from kindergarten to my sophomore year, I was at a pretty big public school in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then, so throughout that whole time, I was in the IB curriculum, so it's like globally minded, like learning, and the culmination of all those years of like service and whatnot was like a certificate that you got called the IB certificate, and you'd like do something service oriented. So I founded a charity called Homes for Toys that like collects slightly used toys, cleans them up, and gives them to children in need. And so I did that, got the certificate, and then when I moved, I decided to restart that organization here in Columbus, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, guys, it's 12:27, so we have just enough time for one last item. And what I'd like is advice for students coming into the upper school. Not everyone is going to come to Columbus Academy, so it could be generalized advice, but advice for someone just joining a high school. Hopefully Columbus Academy. But anyone want to? Oh, you're going to start.
I would just say, take advantage of your resources that you're given. Your teachers, even if they might seem like a little intimidating at first, just talk to them, approach them, ask them for help if you need, especially at Academy, like everybody's been saying, they just want you to succeed and they don't want to see any of their students like falling behind or anything. So really take advantage of that because it's super helpful.
Great.
Advice. I would give advice about like clubs and stuff for that. I recommend that you just do things that you enjoy. Don't do things because it may look good on your resume or your college application. Because when you do things that you're really passionate about or you have fun doing, it doesn't feel like extra work or like taking time out of your day. It's just something that you want to do. And it just makes your high school experience so much better.
Good.
I would say push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit, maybe take classes you wouldn't normally think you would take, and kind of just push yourself a little bit and see what you can do because it's usually what you can do.
Cool.
I would say keep things in perspective. No test grade will sink your GPA. And on a broader scale, if high school is only a means to an end to get into college, and this is coming from I've spent my whole life in this college preparatory academy environment. If high school is only a means to an end to get into a college, and then college is only a means to an end to get a nice job, you lose out on a lot of the things we're trying to tell you about, which is a club you can enjoy, a class you love, a service opportunity that means something to you. And I think taking a step back and taking a broader view of that might be more philosophical than we were going for, but I think it's important to think about.
No, that's great. That's absolutely terrific.
I can speak to like the social aspect of coming into Academy. It's like it's very tight-knit community. It's like one big family, and especially coming in high school, what you really have to do is kind of just like throw yourself in. You know what I mean? I probably looked like a fool running around junior year trying to talk to everyone, but it ended up being good in the long run. I made a lot of friends, and now I'm part of that family. So you gotta just put yourself out of your comfort zone and just dive right in.
Be a sponge.
Oh, do you have some?
Yeah, I was gonna say lastly, just about leadership, like remember that leadership comes in lots of different forms. It's not necessarily, you don't need to be the one person who's leading an entire group of people. You can be that person who's supporting someone else doing that. You can just be adding to the community. It doesn't have to be all on your shoulders. So just remember that, yeah, like I said, leadership takes a lot of different forms.
Great. Well, thank you all. This has been a real treat for me. I hope everyone out there has enjoyed today's Zoom at noon. Next, we are actually taking next week off during the Thanksgiving week. We won't have a Zoom at noon. We'll be back 2 weeks from today, talking with Mary Deeds and Jason Singleton, the assistant athletic director and athletic director here at Columbus Academy, speaking about the athletics program. That does include the high school, but it also goes all the way down to second grade. So we hope to see you in a couple weeks. Thank you, panel. Really appreciate it. Go Vikes.